Welcome to the Tearing It Up podcast. I'm your host, Taryn. We'll be tearing it up, tearing it down, and tearing it apart, dissecting all things related to those who deviate from the standard. From leaders of their industry to leaders of mediocrity, and maybe a gear review or two thrown in. We shoot the shit and let the conversations flow, so if that's not your style, this may not be for you. Otherwise, listen in. Hope to light a fire in you somehow. Hello, all out there. We're cruising through May. We're back with a T and A. I fucking love a rhyme. And alliteration. There was no alliteration there, but it's like one or the other for me. But yeah, we are stoked. So I was in Washington for about 10 days, and Amber and I also took a little trip to Portland. But within that time, we did not get an in-person podcast in together, and it's crazy because we always try to. Sometimes we even get two in, but we were just jamming the whole time that I was there. You know, she was busy, and like I said, when we did our Portland trip, it was like a quick 24-hour thing, less than 24 hours. So yeah, we just didn't really have the time to do it. So we were like, we have to recap at least and get together, have a TNA after, and talk a little bit about our little trip to Portland, which it was great and fun and a success, but it was definitely not what we had planned really in the first place due to I don't know. I hate to say poor planning, but obviously it was because well, we didn't look at the hours of an establishment we were going to see, but again, who fucking thinks of that? Not a lot of people. You assume businesses are open on Mondays in a town like Portland, but you know, this economy, it's just crazy. So, the whole thing that sparked this trip to Portland was to visit the Sports Bra, a sports bar in Portland that plays all women's sports. And we've been following them for a while and just wanted to have the opportunity to go down, check it out, see it all in real life. You know, we hope to someday be able to talk to someone from the Sports Bra and just hear the story on it all. Cause I'm seeing a lot more pop up around the country. And I saw one like in London or the UK or somewhere recently too. But yeah, we wanted to just go check it all out, get the vibes, feel it out. And well, in Tahoe, in the shoulder season, the slower seasons, kind of fall and spring, there are a lot of businesses that take a couple days off and close. And it's typically midweek because obviously the weekends are still a little bit busier. That's when people will come visit in like April and stuff like that. But I didn't think about that being an option in Portland. I just thought like there's enough people and enough stuff going on all the time. Never even fucking crossed my mind that they might be closed. So we're on the way to Portland. We stopped in Chehalis for in a coffee shop to take Amber had a couple meetings to take, and I just was working as well in that break. And a coworker of hers actually was like, the Sports Bra is closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. And of course, it was a Monday we were driving down, a Tuesday we were driving back because the rest of the week we were just busy working things. And you had Quincy Wednesday through Sunday and stuff. So we were like
Tuesday night.
Yep. Yeah. They were like, there's no other way. We can't turn around now and even try and do this like Wednesday, Thursday, or Thursday, Friday or something. But we also had plans to meet up with Andrea Kelly of Make Plus Equal. If you all remember her from being on, a year ago, maybe even a year and a half ago almost now. I can't remember exactly when, but look that episode up. Andrea Kelly, Make Plus Equal. It was super great. We were really excited. We always love meeting our podcast guests and anyone in real life. And then we also were going to dinner with a fellow Futurist Project cohort member of mine, Jared, who works at Snow Peak. And Snow Peak has a sushi and ramen restaurant in Portland that's like combined with their retail store showroom area. So it was super great. And we're like, okay, we have these plans. And we also had an Airbnb booked. So well, here we go. And like I said, it was the Sports Bra visit was the thing that sparked the idea to go to Portland. But for a quick second, I was like, oh no, like, what do we do? But remembering all these other things that we had to do, and just to get to go do something with you, Amber, like to get out of just Tacoma. I hadn't had my bike. I wasn't trying to plan any real big other adventures or anything. So I was like, no, like this will be great for us to be able to go hang out and do this. And um,
And
Amber
it
found a
was.
cute. Yeah, it was. It was. So
It
we
was
continued our
perfect.
journey. And you know what? With our timing, anyways, it would have been real tight to try to hit the sports bra and then make dinner with Jared and all this, because I know we probably would have wanted to hang out at the sports bra longer than the time that we ended up being able to spare. And it was, yeah, it was absolutely great. And Amber found this cute little Airbnb. Why don't you tell the folks about the Airbnb?
It is this cute little RV, little metal RV. I can't remember if it was like a Winnebago or like what this
Airstream.
Airstream, there we go. And it's very tiny. It was in this awesome people's backyard, and it had a hot tub and like a little fire pit and all sorts of really awesome accoutrements. Like it had a record player with some sick records to play. And first thing I did when I got there for sure was play a record, and it just really set the tone. The Airstream's name is Margot. So if you're ever in the PDX area, I would highly suggest checking out Margot the Airstream and stay there if you are up for some Airstream vibes, man.
Yeah, it was cute. They provided for, well, what do they call it? I
Oh,
don't think
a
commissaries,
commissary.
that is it? Okay, that is the right
Yeah.
word, yeah. So they had a beer full a fridge fucking full of Modelo. They had some pre-rolls, they had some cute little postcards. It is definitely a original Airstream. It is small. It like the sofa is the bed. So just so you all out there know, either stay with, it's two people, and be comfortable enough with that person to sleep in the same bed, but running water. And we were too kind of tired Monday night to hit the hot tub, but we thought we would, but because they have a quiet time at 10 p.m., which you can still go in the hot tub and just like talk quietly or whatnot. But I mean, I was pretty fucking wrecked after dinner and stuff anyway, just so tired. It was nice just to kind of go in there and cozy up and go to bed. But yeah, it was cute for sure, and a nice little stay for a quick hitter there in
It was
Portland. And
perfect. I loved that little Airstream, and, like, the bed was custom made. Everything was just so perfectly detailed.
yeah, and like people, so I just love reading through reviews sometimes and seeing what people said. And that's why I'm, just for anyone out there, like the reviews say, like what her I loved the owner's response to some of these, because it's like it's a vintage Airstream. So like I don't know what anyone, what you're
What you were
expecting, but just,
expecting. Queen
yeah,
size
set your
bed.
expectations to be it's a vintage Airstream. Like, you'll there's blankets and things, but there's not a whole lot of room. And like,
When you assume things, you make an ass out of you and me, my friend.
yeah, it's like everyone's version of glamping, like, is different. Because to me, that was, like,
Tot
definitely glamping because it had hot water
Yes.
available, which I don't even have where I live full time. So without having to turn a fucking generator on and wait for it all to happen, or, mostly it ends up I boil pots of water to do the fucking dishes, and we don't shower here. We shower at Andrew's parents in town, though I'm starting to think this summer I might just have to suck it up and take more showers, just here, cold, quick showers, because God, it's just
So
easier to
much.
work into the schedule. And obviously, a hot shower
So
is
much
nice before
work.
bed, but I'm like, I can do it during in summer midday or something, washing some sweat off, or
Plus,
even
it's for
summer
you.
evenings. Yeah, and summer evenings it's hot still too, so it's like that actually might be a great refreshing way to go to bed, of like a cool off. So I have a little camp shower thing, but we also do have an outdoor shower with the trailer. And the only reason we don't shower here, well, one is like I said, the hot water situation, but also we're limited water.
Yeah.
we have a big 2,500-gallon water tank, but we still have to transfer that into the fifth wheel. So it's just kind of annoying to have to transfer more. And showers just use so much water that we like to preserve it for toilet, washing hands, drinking, dishes, and stuff that we don't want to like quote unquote like waste it to take a shower when we can go take a hot shower in a regular bathroom in town. But so this summer might be using my camp shower more or something. So figure it out to take at least quick rinse offs outside. But yeah, I don't know. We'll figure it out. There's
A lot of
a lot of
logistics.
shit we got to figure out
Yeah.
here, and this summer is gonna be interesting. It's not gonna be interesting. It's just like we really have to, with the house in town, like buckle down and figure out what the fucking plan is. And I don't know. I just have it gives me a lot of anxiety thinking about it and the kind of two choices that lay in front of us because I know the path that I want, but I also know that it is the much harder one and costly. But then again, it's not really more costly when we look at other numbers of other things. And so it's just like,
Logistics, man. Life choices,
yeah, I kind of went,
logistics.
yeah, I kind of went to bed like a little bit grumpy yesterday. Because I just worry that like our communication's not going to be where it needs to be and a decision's going to be made that I'm not fully on board with, and I feel like I kind of have to go along with whatever because of just those situations I'm in, but I'm just like, man, we'll talk about it. And I just keep bringing things up and just keep reminding him like we just need to like just keep this conversation going
Yes.
often, even though it
Yes,
sucks to talk about because we don't know where we stand. But it's like, that communication thing, like anytime something's
bro.
happening in either of our heads, we have to discuss
Address
it with each
it.
other because like this next decision does impact both our lives like a lot, in my opinion. Like in others, like it might not be like a lot because we'll still be living our life here in Truckee, but it will be yeah, for my vision and like what we were talking about before recording kind of is like you had something happens in life, you have a vision, right? Or you just not even something happens in life, you just have a vision for your life.
And a
And
trajectory. You have a
yep,
direction that you think it's gonna go, and you hold on to that for dear
yep,
life. And
yeah,
a lot of the times, it doesn't go that way.
exactly.
And then you're like, "Okay, do I hold on to this thought and this idea of how I thought it was going to go?" Which normally, and for my situations, I did. I have.
Yeah.
I've held on to that fucking idea for dear life,
Mhm.
even if it was killing me. And
Yeah,
a lot of the times in life, you have to pivot. You have to switch your mindset. You have to
you got to
take it
let go,
out of the situation. You gotta fucking let go. And it's
and
hard.
it's hard.
It's so hard, especially if like what you're saying is like you have this idea of how you think this thing should be executed, and it's hard for you to let go of it, say
Mhm.
no to it, let something else take over, and also just switch your mindset
Yep.
and get yourself out of it. It's really fucking hard. But
It's so hard. Like letting go and communication, these are a couple things that are very very important in life, and it's something I've definitely struggled with is the letting go. Like once you, like I said, have an idea in your head and I don't know if this is our society that does it and doesn't really let that, like doesn't practice the art. I don't know if any other society is better at letting go than like us per se, because I think there's still a lot of societies in first world countries at least too, and not even first world. Look at like countries that have arranged marriages and whatever, right? Like, but
dude.
we
Dude.
grow up with such an idea that we're given on how life should be lived. So you grow up for so long with being told this is what you should do, this is the track you should take, it's A, B, C, D, blah, 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 blah. So, of course, it's hard for us to learn to let go of things because our whole like childhood and adolescence, we're kind of given our path and told it should be this and that. So, once it starts to go a different way or you start to want it to go a different way, the shit happens. Like think about even being in high school or something and you decide maybe that, you know what, college isn't the route for you. You don't want to do it, but maybe you have parents that make you do that. Like you, that's just, I think, the most pivotal point in our lives where people start to question what they want is at that very young age of like 17, 18, even 16 years old, because some kids are at 16 looking at what colleges they want to go to and yada yada. But it's like, if you're thinking differently from your parents, that's the first point that I think you're like, oh, what, the idea that was put in my head for life isn't really the idea that I want. So this said, this gets stuck in our head. We move on, whatever next stage of life. You have an idea in your head that you get a job and you work this job for 40 fucking years, or you get married and you have kids and you're with that person forever. And this is what it looks like. And we know, obviously, since the 90s, the divorce rate has just gone up, and probably the rate of people having children without even being married, because that divorce rate just went up and more people are doing it. And I think, I support whatever, because I think you all should just live, everyone should just live their best and happy life, and we grow apart. And I think it's okay. And I think that a lot less people get married on the like religious beliefs of it. Um, and that I think is what kept a lot of people in marriages, that more marriages were out of the religious sect. So that's what you were to do, is be married and then have a kid. And it was, all against certain religions, against divorce and things like that. So there were so many other things that you were going against if you were getting divorced. And now people just like want to get married because they want to be with that person. And I'm sure other conveniences and things in life that it helps being married for, whether that's, I don't really know if if
Yes.
if being married helps in taxes or
Yes.
doesn't, because like for my parents it did not help them this year. They got booked. But anyways, it's just like we get this idea. The idea of when you get married should be that you do want to be with this person forever. I'm not saying like, oh, fuck it, get married because you just can always get divorced and whatever. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I'm saying if you get to that point in life where things are changing, your people are changing, you're changing, then like, and that's the best route for you and your children, if you have them, or child or whatever, to be happy, then I think that's the route that people should take. But
Yep.
yeah, I don't think you should get married unless you see the vision that you want to be with that person
Yeah.
for the long haul.
Yep. Yeah. And like family planning, life planning, it's just you can communicate all day and like have these ideas of how you think things are going to grow and go, and it doesn't go and grow that
Yeah.
way, and things get stagnant and things get bad,
Yeah.
and it's hard to get out once you've that's been your way of life for so long. And it's also hard to it's so fucking hard. It's so hard. It's so
I
hard to not be financially leaning on someone that you've leaned on for so long. It's really, really hard to get out of that. But once you do, it's also could be a really freaking great. At least for my scenario, has been really good. But it's also
Yeah.
I've like the 2 years that I've been separated from my ex has been like a major reframing of my mental um way of thinking and mental health. Like it takes years. It takes years.
Yeah. Well, and that's with everything, right? Just any major change. And
Yeah.
we've talked about this before with jobs or anything too, where
Yep.
you're not happy anymore. You don't see the past. Something's not settling, or any idea of, you take a project on, and or you make a big move. A lot of people, just might move across the country or something, whether it's for a job or just for fun or whatnot. And then maybe you realize that this new place isn't for you anymore. This new job isn't for you anymore. And we get so stuck in like, well, I did all this
Yeah.
for this. And because
Yes.
I made this like statement plenty of times and recently of like, well, then what the fuck was this all for? That was all a waste of time. Like, and it's like when I sit down and think about it, like, no, I know in like the deep down heart of hearts, it's not like it was a waste of time. You learn as you go. But
Yeah.
when you're not ready to give something up, but kind of everything else is telling you that you need to, that I feel like is really a really hard place to be because it can be confusing. 'Cause I'm very stubborn personally too, so I feel like I've been in this confused spot quite a bit where people are like telling me what to do, and I also know that I say this a lot and am pretty firm in it a lot of like, you know, I fucking hate people telling me what to do. Like, you're not gonna change my mind. Like, quit telling me to stop doing this or to do this over here. Like, I fucking hate it and I don't listen. And sometimes that's great. And I didn't listen to the naysayers and continued on. And sometimes it just takes me that time, like you said, to process and say, okay, I need to do it. And that's the thing. We all learn on our own time and we have to be the one to
Yes.
make the change.
Yep.
And so often that doesn't come until we hit rock bottom.
Mhm.
And we were talking before we were recording about how and why that is. Why do we have to? And rock bottom also is perception, can look very, very differently. It's not necessarily like always have to be this big tragedy thing.
And neither does
But
it have to be emotional, like financial. It shows up in many different ways.
yeah, but it's just interesting that it's like, yeah, that's what it takes for a lot of people to make these changes in their life. And what I think about often is like divorce and like addiction type things where finally to make this change, something really bad happened that you realize like I this is absolutely it. I can't take it anymore. And it's just interesting to me that so many of us wait till the very last minute, or it takes something so big for us to be okay with making the change. And I don't think we really have any answers or anything like that for
No.
you. Really, we're just like begging that question. But it actually reminds me of a post I just saw recently from Emily Holland, who's also been on the podcast, and she talked about her sobriety on there. And but recently she made a post. She was on another podcast, and it was a clip from there about like kind of where it stemmed from. I don't believe we got into that really. It was pretty vague when she told us just kind of tired of life with drinking and whatnot. And that got me thinking about this too because she was just mentioning her experience in drinking and one day just having a couple drinks and noticing how it was changing the way she felt in her body and being like, I hate this. I don't want to feel this way. And I thought it was so great for her to share that, to open up and show people that, especially to me, when it comes to something like drinking and alcohol and stuff, that if you decide to stop drinking, it doesn't have to be because you hit this stereotypical rock bottom of
Can't
waking up
wait.
somewhere you didn't know where you were, you lost your car, you lost this, that, got divorced, did crazy things, got arrested, but it was just that you recognized it wasn't serving you anymore and made that change because we put so much emphasis again on like drinking in society here that I hate telling people when I even take a break from alcohol because it's like, oh, it's either again for women, you're pregnant or like what happened?
Yeah.
Like and again, it doesn't have to be this like salacious fucking story
Mhm.
of why you made that decision. So I thought it was really cool that she shared that and can help really inspire people who don't have this crazy story. Just like, no, I just didn't like it. And that's fucking fine because I have had that realization also recently in the last like year where there's been a couple times I've had a drink or a couple drinks and like when you start to feel that buzz where I was like I actually don't like this because I can literally feel the control leaving my body and brain and I don't fucking like that and I don't want to have my emotions change because of this. And I was like, all right, yeah, no, not drinking anymore. And like as far as that evening or whatever. But
Yeah.
um so it is possible, obviously, to make these changes, but I left a comment on her post because I felt kind of torn of how it would be taken. I basically said like what I've been saying, but I also didn't want to take any validation out of her decision and say anything like, oh, this wasn't a big deal or rock bottom or anything. Cause that's again perception. Like for her, that was just the reason. And she doesn't have to claim that it's like rock bottom by any means. But I felt, yeah, very conflicted in how I was trying to convey this message of thank you for sharing, that it can be something, I don't know, simple, I
Simple.
guess. Like I said, I just still feel awkward trying to get the feelings out without, like I said, making her feel like less than or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
Or not validating
yeah,
their experience or whatever. You just never know how you're going to come off on somebody, and if you don't know the full story as to what, and it's also really hard to convey the feelings
yeah,
you feel when you're like, "Oh, I decided this decision.
hmm
I don't know why.
hmm
I can't
hmm
tell you, but it's something that I like." When you have that feeling, it's really hard to convey into words
yeah.
why.
And I do just think that more often it is harder to make decisions and change without there being some kind of big thing or thing where you notice the like change within yourself. Like so like it can happen for people with like drinking, like Emily's story, or experiences that I've felt that as well. It hasn't stopped me from, I haven't gone like completely sober, but it was just for that evening and taking like a little break. Like, yeah, I don't, want to drink for a little bit or whatever, at least drink to this point.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's like I said, more often it's some,
Catastrophic things
yeah. And like I
that
said, I
that
just feel like if for some reason I just don't want to downplay her fucking experience. I don't know why I'm so
Yeah,
worried that
no.
by saying this, that's what I'm doing is like, oh yeah, it wasn't a catastrophic thing. But yeah, you know what I'm saying, right? It's like,
And everyone's lived experience is entirely different, and
right.
some people's skulls are a little bit thicker than others. Hi, right here. Like
Yeah.
it takes a lot for me to see things differently, or like I don't know. I always try to see the silver lining in things, so I feel like I focus on the good too much and don't
Mhm.
focus on the reality of things, and that's also a fault in mine. And so like we all walk through this life differently, and whatever gets you to where you are in a better place, the more power to you.
Yeah.
Um, and also another thing that we were talking about before we started recording was how long you can live these ways that aren't serving you and just keep on going and just keep on living in the negative cycles and just keep,
Mhm.
and you don't even realize it, right? Like you're just going
Yeah.
along with the day to day and you don't.
Because you've become content and complacent.
Yes, yeah, and it's that, I think it's that for me that really like just gets my head in a little rat race because I'm like, but how and when
Yeah.
and where and why? And you don't realize it. And like even your friends and family don't really see it. You know what I mean? Or if it is really big and bad, don't know how to address something that is as big as like an elephant in the room, catastrophic rock bottom situation. It's all hard to navigate, and communication is your friend.
Well, and a lot of these things too are not just a like simple decision. I'm going to just not do this anymore. I'm going to walk away from this. You have to restructure your entire life.
Yep.
And that's very overwhelming, not to mention financially burdening, especially right
And
now for many of us. I mean, and that's kind of where like my headspace was like yesterday, why I went to bed grumpy was just that I was like, dude, like I feel like I am never gonna be in a financial, like the financial place I want to be. And I just feel like I'll always be chasing this fucking dream income and ability to be able to live this lifestyle and have some savings, like ever be at the point in my life that I'm like, oh, sure, I can go, something happens to my car, I can go get it fixed and I know that I've got the money or something for it. And, we want to we're ready for the next step in the property, and I can say, "Oh, yep, here's the money for it." And I know that a majority of the people in this country are not in that
No,
position,
not right now.
but I and I know that like my big dreams are like way way far off, but I still think there's plenty of people who have are in a much better spot at least than I am. And yeah, it just feels like, how the fuck do you do it? How do you get there? I just want fucking health insurance and like
The basics,
to be able to take my truck in when the check engine light goes on. And without, this is where the stubborn part of me comes in, like having to go get a job that makes me miserable. We're constantly having to decide, okay, what do you want more, the financial stability or working a like,
quality of life.
yeah. And with the beliefs that I have, well, it goes against a lot of others where I'm like, no, I'm not willing to do that just so I can have this stress off me, because I think that, yeah, my quality of life will actually go down a lot more than it is with the financial stress. But I just, it's,
It's
yeah,
hard.
overwhelming to think about, because
Yeah,
all these things and the bigger picture. And that's why a lot of us get stuck in paralysis by analysis when it does come to the big life changes and decisions you have to make, because then you're looking down the road of like, okay, well, what does this mean? What does a new job mean? What does a new place to live mean? What does a separation mean? Like it's not often just the like, cool, I'm gonna stop doing this. Even something like quitting drinking,
yeah,
it's not just like, cool, I'm not going to do it, because so much again of social society socialness like is tied to it. So it does make things different. It might make you feel weird. You might need to actually take a break from those things, because it being around it does, influence you. And so you just might need to totally take a break. So then that can be isolating.
yep,
um and I just always really envy the people who are able to make decisions. I feel like at one point in my life, I was able to make big life changes. And I kind of talked about this a little bit with Tasha from Curious Creatures, but like in my 20s, moving around more. But it was also because at that time, I didn't have a lot of like investments or response, not that I do now, but or responsibilities or a long-term relationship. And I still always say, like, if life really, shit hit the fan, I could always go back to my parents' house. Not that I ever want to at almost 40 or something, but I know I have a support system is the point. And but in your 20s, yeah, I was definitely like, cool, I'll go here for a month, and if it doesn't work out, no harm no foul, I can go somewhere else. I can throw whatever I need in my truck and that's it. Well, now I want a lot more things with me that I'm
yeah,
not just putting in the back of my truck. And it's not as easy just to get up and move and leave. I have roots in like the place I'm in. I love it and don't want to leave it or anything. And so it feels so much harder to make any decision, because I don't want to make
yeah,
any changes.
yeah. Back to the financial topic, we had uh, my work put on this talk, and it was about financial stability and like how to get there. And one of the things that the speaker said was ideally, you should have, in case of an emergency fund, worth of 3
3 months.
months of your living expenses. And I was just like, uh, I do not have that. My
Yeah.
credit cards could fund that, but like, I don't know many people who do have that. 3
Hmm.
months worth of
All your
being able
expenses.
to allot your life without working. I'm just like,
And
with
then
what's
also
going on in the
think,
world right now, I don't
yeah,
see that for many, many, many,
yeah.
many people.
And think about how quick 3 months actually goes too if you were unemployed. And like had 3 months to find a job, and it's hard to get a job in probably the job you left or something the same rate or whatever. So
Uh-huh.
it's not that once you get that new job, are you gonna make the same? Like, oh, it just I I'm on a few job boards and some groups, and so I see a lot of people who've been like, I've been looking for months for work, and I don't know their full situation, but it terrifies me. And I've been following. So I can't remember if Tanya Schultz brought that up when she was on our podcast, The Money Life Coach, but I've read and listened to a lot of money podcasts, and I follow the financial feminist Tori Dunlap, who's in Seattle. Holler. But so I've heard this quite often, the 3 months savings thing, and it's also recommended that you do that before you pay off any debt. So while it's very tempting, and I have a hard time myself agreeing with it, the savings where it's like you get a chunk of money and you just want to make that huge payment to your credit card and just to get it done, but they all strongly, the people I follow all strongly recommend putting that big chunk in savings and get that emergency 3-month balance there, and then start paying your credit cards off. Because it's like, I don't know if it's because if you make those payments to your credit card and say you pay your credit cards off, but then a fucking emergency happens, well, what happens? It's going right back on your credit card. You're right back where you started. So when you can pay that credit card off, be done with it, and an emergency happens, you can also start playing credit smart. We're like, cool, I'll pay for the emergency with my credit card, but I have the funds over here to then pay that off. It's like, I feel like I have so much information and know the things I should be doing, and I'm actively not doing them. I feel like I recently made a choice with a check that I didn't know was coming came, and I'm like, oh, cool. Like, when it should 100% go to a million different things. But I was looking at this like opportunity that is professional development. And in
Yes.
my head, I'm like, well, if I put the money there right now, this will get me to the point, like professionally, where I can make more money in the long term. And it's very hard to know, is this a
Gamble.
investment that will really help and get me here, or am I really just being fucking dumb and making bad money decisions? And I'm in a very, I've made the commitment, I want to do it, but I feel so like not bad, but I guess still just very confused about whether it is
The right
the
move.
right choice. But I also want to believe that it is, to put that all out into the universe and
Yeah,
be like, this is the right thing to
it is.
do. It will pay off. And also, like, this will be the last,
Check it
like, from
out.
here on out, we're making better decisions. And I'm not saying yes to any fucking thing. I am trying my hardest to allow myself one day a week for a special latte and like breakfast burrito. And also there's people out there who, this is always what happens, like, quit buying the lattes and you'll save this much money a week. But then it's like, well, a down payment is this much, so it looks like I'm not saving that much money or whatever. But it is these little things that add up for
Yeah.
me. So if I can, it's a very small step, if I can be at least conscious of that, I am hoping it will spread into other things, because I know I do um, go for the convenience
Yeah.
often, because it just is a
Life.
little bit that's
Yep.
what it is, convenient. And so I'm just trying to take a harder look at things, but also I just want a fucking gravel bike.
You can use
So I'm like,
mine whenever you come to town, honey.
okay, this professional development investment is one, and then the gravel bike. Because I'm like, that's for my health and
Yeah.
mental well-being.
And that's the thing. It's like all these choices, it's like nothing, there's no easy answer. There's
No,
no
there's not.
there's no simple solution. It's it's all a gamble.
And I'm like, yeah, just all like, to me, okay, in the grand scheme, the bike I want isn't that much. I'm like, but it's still a lot of money for me. And yeah, I'm just like, oh my God, when can I stop? How can I make these, like, why can't I just put that money in savings? I'm like, no, I've wanted this for fucking 3
Yeah.
years, 4 years now. I'm in this state where I have a lot of or phase where I have a lot of motivation. I feel like it's spring, like full spring mode where I'm like, all
But
right, lots of motivation to work out, eat better, and by eat better, I mean like fuel my body, like consciously eat more protein so that I am more satiated and my muscles are recovering, and then eating less sugar because I'm satiated. And again, just all coming into like the goal of this is to fuel and recover better than other times. But I'm also fully aware that this does happen every fucking spring, and even being a personal trainer, that I get into these phases in a few months or even weeks. It's more like that. A few weeks later that I'm like, well, back to just being busy in summer and this and that, so it's hard to keep up on, but I'm really fucking tired of going through the phases and not being able to make it a more consistent thing. So for instance, what I was getting at is I'm fucking motivated and feeling good today that I'm like, fuck it, this afternoon maybe I'll bike to town via the gravel
yeah,
roads. Thus, I'm like, I'm gonna buy that fucking gravel bike on that payment plan today.
I'm gonna ride my bike in to get a gravel bike. Yeah,
Yeah.
it. And also, like, yes, this is real life and money's real and debt is real, but also at the end of the day, it's really not.
I know, and it's
Like,
like
it's
I
really not.
again,
Oh,
I know I make some dumb money choices, and I do blame it on often like, having no education or anything on it. And I think a lot of us, but like now I do know things and I'm still making them because they're just very ingrained in me. Because guess what? It is very hard to change your ideas and ways and impulsiveness, and it takes a lot of effort, and I'm fucking trying with little things. And it's again, I get in my head of like, well, what's the fucking point? Because this world is a dumpster fire. So if I
yeah.
don't get that, if I don't spend my money on that, then what? It's not. I don't think I'm going to have a retirement. And sorry if I'm feeling pessimist out there to you, and but these are just the thoughts that actually go through
Yep,
my head.
yep.
And that's my way of thinking, that I'm like, no, I just want to fucking be happy right now, and that's what it's going to do. And I'm not looking at the bigger picture, because it is very hard for me to look at the bigger picture. And I talked about that recently in my leadership program, that I I am very much on the impulsive side of things, always have been, and I want it now. I'm fucking Violet from Willy Wonka. I want it
It
now.
is
I'm gonna do it fucking now.
now.
I think of something, I dive in head first, and I know that about myself. That's one step, but god damn, is it hard to not be reactive and impulsive and
Say fuck it.
ugh.
Especially in the state of the world that we are in right now.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
really fucking hard to not just say fuck it.
It is. It really is. And I'm gonna sell my dovetail samples at the Tahoe Mountain Sports sample sale
Yes,
this
bitch.
weekend, Memorial Day weekend. And so I'm just like, oh, maybe, that's like my quote unquote fun
Travel bike.
money,
Yes.
when in reality, not at all. Because I've already, to remind you all out there who buys my samples, one, thank you so fucking much. To remind myself is that I fucking paid for these. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm not really making anything on this, maybe a few bucks, but not really, because the short amount of time that I was with Dovetail, the as an independent rep too, I paid for travel and things and this and that, and like the hours that I'm talking to accounts and whatnot. So I was there for such a short amount of time. The amount that I kind of sold, and for the amount of work and the sample cost themselves and stuff, I didn't make much. So while it's like a credit card, it feels like
Yeah.
free money if I'm getting it because I already paid for those. So it's done, it's out of my brain. But by selling them, it's just like recouping funds so that I could actually, from what I did make from them, would be a profit. But as it stands right now, it's not so much. But if I'm able to get some of the samples, then I will have, it will make that margin a little bit bigger. Um, and that's like no shade on anyone whatsoever. That's the life of an independent rep. That's what fucking happens. It's a risk. And but yeah, here I am, thinking like, oh, it's free money. Like, I'm gonna buy a bike. I'm also like, God, I fucking hope I sell anything.
Yeah.
I really hope I can get rid of a lot of samples because I need the goddamn space. And what good are they doing anyone sitting in a bin?
Yeah.
Like, this is great, great stuff. I feel
Yeah.
very passionate about people in the world getting this dovetail on their bodies. So I'm
Yep.
like, seriously, please come buy it because it's fucking amazing
Yeah.
and it's a great deal.
You're gonna want it on your body. Trust. Trust.
Yeah, 100%. So if anyone's in the Tahoe area, this will
Again.
be our Thursday episode of May 22nd. So May 24th, go check myself and others out. No free ads here. So just check out Dovetail. But for real. Also, if you're not in the area, hit a sister up. And I'll let you know what I got. But there are sample sizes, so very limited in sizes. But I have a Google Drive full of shit, and I will ship stuff to you. But obviously, it's much better when you can try stuff on.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a fucking everywhere kind of conversation because that's how our minds are. And I think the real kind of root of this whole thing was just being at the point in life where you're making choices and it's hard to make them and you have to look at the bigger picture when you're making these choices, and that is hard for I think both of us to do.
And it's even harder to make the actual move.
Yeah. Yep.
But
and
so
and
worth it
being
once you do.
yeah, and just again being okay with letting go of this vision that you had in your head. And but I definitely worry when it comes to making changes and changing this idea in your head. I'm like, but if I don't take this chance now, it's never going to come back. And that very much is from a scarcity mindset that for years I've been trying to change. And there's a lot of the financial people who kind of are in the woo woo thing of like, oh, talk about money and let it flow and it'll happen and it will come.
Universe
And
will provide, man.
yeah, totally. And I want to believe that so bad, but I guess I truly don't at my root because it's not fucking happening. And I've been saying that shit all the time. And that's where I'm going again with this fucking crazy, like, fucking dichotomy of a mind I have of like, yeah, putting my money over here for this thing. It's going to be a business investment. And then I'm going to see so much come from it. It's going to be worth it. And then on the other side, I'm like, I'm a fucking idiot. I'm a fucking idiot.
Don't talk about my friend like that.
God, it's so hard not to. I feel
Yeah.
so dumb all the time. And I'm just telling you all that and not for like validation or anything because I just, normalizing, I guess, the thoughts that run through our heads that everyone self doubts no matter what you see on the internet, no matter how confident people might come off out in the world or in person. Not saying that that's necessarily me or anything, but we also all go through these times and another narrative in our heads that's much different than the words that are coming out of our mouths at times.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's a
dude,
protection mechanism,
when I think about
Just
finances and me and my choices with them, all I repeat in my head is I'm such a fucking idiot. And
I think what's really dumb is money itself.
I agree because I'm
Blame
really
it on the
bad.
money. Blame it on
Yeah,
society, not yourself.
100%. But I,
Easier said than done,
yeah,
right?
and like I said, for the last 3 fucking summers on this podcast, I'm putting out there into the world again, like gravel bike. This is the year. Well, because I also don't want to ride with my fucking backpack on this 18-mile ride. I'd like to have some
Strap it
bags on
to
my
the
bike,
frame. Yep.
like that I can put a change of clothes in my laptop. But which yeah, whatever. I can do it on my mountain bike, but then I have to fucking take it off to go on the next ride, and I just
Yeah.
just a little bitch right now, just a little first world baby back bitch.
Get it off your chest, girlfriend.
Whatever. I just better keep that motivation up to get on these gravel roads today if I want to talk
Yes, babe.
Andrew into agreeing
Getting
with me
the
that I
ride
should get
back
this.
up.
Yeah, it's like I don't need him to say yes, but I want.
It helps.
Yeah, I want
Really helps
validation.
to have a buddy in your corner to be like, "Fuck yeah."
Look, my mom's my go-to usually on this stuff.
Yeah.
I've turned to Andrew because he will, like, you know, put me in check and make me think a little more. My
Attaboy.
mom will just be like, "Yeah, do it. Sounds great." And I'm
I'm
like,
gonna
"Fuck
take up
yeah, I just needed to
heroin.
hear that, mom, but I also need to make a smart choice."
Yeah, yeah. Moms will always be the biggest cheerleader.
Absolutely. If I called her right now, I'm like, "Look, I really want this bike. What should I do?" I almost called her about this other, like, business choice, but then I didn't, because I felt that confused about it that she might say no. And so I was like,
Yeah.
"I ain't telling anyone. I'm just doing it."
Well, I'm always here for the yes, no questions.
Absolutely.
And also, I'm like your mom in the fact I'm a woo girl,
I
so
know.
I'll
That's
support
why
you wherever,
yeah.
but I'll also be like, "But what about this?" And then I'll just
Yeah,
be right there in the middle with you where it's like, "Do I, don't I? Do I,
totally.
don't I? Do I, don't I?"
And I
Well,
might as well tell you all what it is because it's not necessarily a full on it's half, and maybe that's why I'm confused a little bit on it. It's half business, half kind of retreaty. It is a I'm pulling it up right now. My friend M Dean, who I've mentioned to you all before because she did the podcast art, both versions. Um, her and her friend Holly Shankland, who's a photographer, are putting on a little retreat that is just outside of Truckee, and it is going to be a couple days at this really cute place called Consolation Creek. And they are bringing a small group of women together to stay at this little place on this in this beautiful little area. There's going to be some yoga. Holly is going to work with people with photography, teach us some photography skills, even on your iPhone. She's a graphic designer and she's going to go over some branding things and marketing type stuff. And so there's like skills built into it, but it's also like retreat esque. You're getting together with a group of
yeah.
women and having some fucking time to be in this beautiful place to let things kind of like, I think, sink in. And so that's why I'm like, okay, it's not straight up business, but I could definitely
Right.
learn some stuff from it. Like, I'm really excited to do a photography workshop with Holly because I've for years wanted to bring my DSLR camera back out. So I want to bring that and maybe get some advice from her on it and use it again for product photos for my marketing. Whether that's a freelance contract or gear reviews myself. Like, I want to be able to take better photos for these things and for social media. And yeah, there's things to learn. But like I said, I also feel like, oh my God, this is just a lovely woo women time in the woods.
Which is
And
extremely beneficial, man. And if another thing that I wanna take home is, like, what is wealth to you? You know what I mean? Like,
mm,
is it financial?
mm,
Because for most people, yes, for sure. But for me, wealth is being happy, being healthy, being productive, having good you know what I mean? Like, there's
yeah.
just so much more to life than financial success being a successful life.
And your idea of, like, what financial suc exactly,
Yep.
Amber, like,
Yep,
100%.
bitch.
Everyone's idea of financial success is very different.
Yep.
For me, that is, being able to do things like this,
Yes.
because I think it's very needed, and that's also where I'm at in life. Hit this phase, I'm sure I've made a few posts about it, probably said it here, but I feel like I have given up so many things because I am like, "Oh, shouldn't spend the money on that. Can't afford it, can't," but I'm like, "But where's the money going anyway?"
Yeah.
And now I'm just like not happy. I'm not having any fun and I want to invest in my fucking self. And that for me is exactly what you just said is being able to like do
What you want.
have experiences,
Yes.
have fucking
Yes.
experiences and it's that's exactly what this is to me is an experience and an opportunity to connect with others. Time that I need in these places. I mean, I'm like, "Fuck, I need to be outside more." Like, I need to go camping. I rarely camp at all anymore because obviously it feels like I do every day to some extent, but, with our living situation. But yeah, I turn down so many things or come up with ideas like, "Oh, let's go do this trip, so and so," and then I'm like, "Okay, yep, wasn't able to save any money for those 6 months, can't do it," and I'm just really tired of living in a place where I can't have these experiences due to finances, and I don't think that means I should go open another credit card just to do them or anything, but it is what I feel like is honestly helping me kinda make some other decisions of, like, how do I get myself to this point? And, that's why, again, like, I'm torn. I'm like, "Okay, I'm using this money on an investment in myself and an
Worth
experience that
it.
I think is gonna be completely invaluable,"
Exactly.
but it is hard to know that I don't have the expendable funds, but Em and Holly were really, really great with, offering payment plans, which makes it bite-sized chunks, and also it in the grand scheme of also things like this, it's very, very affordable for this first one. So this
Good.
is not any huge, crazy, like, investment or anything, it's quite minimal compared to other things, and, again, I think I felt awkward, like, with being in the leadership program I'm in, and, like, do I need it? I'm doing something like this, not something like it, but I'm in a professional development program, but this is just a completely different realm of and it's investment in myself as well,
Which is
and
the
other skills that this leadership program isn't touching on that I feel like is important. And to end this part up, I just want to tell you all about it. It's called Coming Home, and home is spelled HOEM. So this is their very first retreat that they're putting on. They sold it out. They have a wait list. But the idea is that there's going to be more and more offerings, and I just want to read what one of their posts says about it, and it's that this retreat was created as an opportunity to reconnect with your purpose, find clarity, and lay the foundation for how you want to move into summer, with those longer daylight hours and the naturally busier time. With the nature as our backdrop, we'll tune into the rhythm of the seasons and remember what it feels like to move in harmony with the earth. When we sync up with the natural flow of the planet, we can come back to ourselves. And I just feel like that is
Oh,
definitely like what I
got me.
need. And it starts off saying too, like, spring reminds us of rebirth and new beginnings. And I'm like, yeah, everything about this post, because I started in the middle, is like, yeah, that's what I need. That's what I need. I feel like I need some clarity and being around other people who are looking for the same thing. I think it is a great way to go into to summer. And I
Heck yeah.
just again, I'm in a place where I kind of do need a constant boost to like keep going.
Yeah.
So I think this will be it.
It's natural.
But yeah, so I'm excited, and you all should. I'll try to remember to link to it in the show notes so that anyone out there who is in the area, even if you're not in the area, follow them, because like I said, this is the first of hopefully many for them, which may be, not only in the Tahoe area in the future. I don't know. I don't know their big dreams, but I know I fucking love M and what she does with Locals Creative, and Holly is amazing too. I don't know her like super duper well, but she's done a lot with M, and her photography and everything's beautiful, and I know that she's a awesome person, and obviously I just want to support amazing women. So I'm
Yes.
excited.
Always,
But
every day.
yeah, so fucking figuring out, I guess, how to invest in yourself, and mine is really trying to make the gym and movement priority and investing in some time for myself that gets me out doing the things I love, my bike and camping and hanging
That's
out with my
wealth right
dogs
there, brother.
and
I'll
my
tell you that.
boyfriend. I got to squeeze him in.
Well, you got to. Got to.
Yeah, but well, I know you have a meeting coming up here soon too. Anything you got on your end before we wrap up?
Nah, I loved our conversation today. Good stuff.
Me too.
Great reminders, money isn't real. What real wealth is health and happiness and experiences and self-investments, especially with this fucking buffoon in our in our
Yep.
uh, 4 years. Okay. Anyways,
Absolutely.
yeah, real wealth is not money.
Yeah, yeah. What's your idea of success or your idea of wealth? It might not be this, 6, 7 figure number, though it feels like these days at minimum you need to make 6 figures just to cover the fucking cost of anything. And yeah, so we get it. Yeah, like I get money, we gotta pay fucking bills, but
Yeah, yep.
it's
But
also
real wealth is like just getting my ass out in nature for me, having those
yeah.
refresh moments of doing outdoor activities, and that's
Mhm.
not everybody's idea of wealth. So,
Yeah.
what is wealth to you?
Exactly. And, y'all know we're always here for anyone who is going through similar struggles and just wants to chat it out, let it all out, because we're not here to, necessarily provide answers or anything. We're not professionals in the mental health space or financial space or anything like that, but we are professionals in relating to other people and empathizing with you for sure.
Yeah,
So we're
and
here to
just
talk it
holding
out and
space
share.
for conversation, because that's where
Exactly.
a lot of
Holding
things grow.
Yep, holding that space, because again, we can relate, and if you just need to know someone else is in this and talk things out, like let your ideas spew, and if you want anyone's opinion or advice, then they'll give it. You ask for it, but sometimes you just gotta let it flow, and I'm trying to get better at letting people spew and not have an answer for
That's a
them.
hard one.
It is
That's
a
a
hard one
really
because
hard
you always wanna tell people, like, "You should do this." I
Yeah,
like
and it comes from a great place, right? But
Mhm. Yeah.
sometimes you
But I
just
know I don't
need
always want it,
it.
so I'm trying to not give it so that, like, I can then find space in the world too to let my thoughts out without and I think I had to tell Andrew that, like, somewhat recently in this last year in one of our kind of points of contention in life of and getting back together and communicating, like, I don't always need you to, like, say anything, but I need to know you're engaged and listening, and I will also try to do the same because we had the same problem with each other, so it's nice
Mhm.
to kinda be at a place where we're both actively being active listeners.
Yeah, that's huge. That's hard.
Yeah,
It's really
very,
hard.
very. But thank you all for listening. Hope you like stayed that crazy track. I don't know what it looks like for you, the zigzag in your head, but again, just a little insight to the zigzag in my head every fucking minute of the day.
Good times.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. We hope you enjoyed this episode and would do us a huge favor since we don't have any sponsors or anything like that, and would rate and review us on whatever platform it is you use, Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, whatever it is. And if you're listening and downloading just through the website, tearingituppodcast.com, leave comments. We'll definitely engage back with you. And on social media right now, we're just on Instagram. Tearing It Up Podcast is the handle. Like the post, share the post, comment on the post, whatever it is you got. Show us your love so we just stay relevant and show up in the rankings at all. So again, rate and review, please. And we'll see you next time. Thanks.